Some muscle cars made headlines, but this list, it's the kind of horsepower heat that nearly vanished. Factory misfits, outlaw builds, and sleeper bullets that blasted past the competition, and often the law. This is the top 10 muscle cars that were way too fast for their own good. The back alley beasts, the underground icons, the cars that shocked the system. 10. 1968 Mercury Cougar GTE. You might know the Cougar as Ford's upscale Mustang twin, but in 1968, Mercury stuffed a 427 cubic inch big block under the hood and gave it a name to match, the GTE 7.0. Only 357 of these monsters were made. On paper, the 427 V8 made 390 horsepower. In reality, it made closer to 425. With a top-loader 4-speed and 3.91 gears, the Cougar GTE roared through the quarter-mile in just over 13 seconds. This wasn't a pony car. It was a predator dressed in chrome. The GTE was never meant to be flashy. It wore its power like a tuxedo with brass knuckles. While everyone looked at Mustangs, the real gearheads knew the big cat was lurking in the shadows, quieter, rarer, and deadlier. It didn't need stripes to be dangerous. It just needed throttle. 9. 1971 Plymouth Duster 340 Twister. By 1971, the muscle car war was losing steam. Insurance rates were up, emissions regs were cracking down. But Plymouth wasn't done fighting. The Duster 340 Twister was their last street-legal punch, and it came out swinging. The 340 was small but furious, rated at 275 horsepower, but every dyno run screamed past 300. With just 3,100 pounds to carry, the Duster flew off the line. 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, quarter in the mid-14s, and this was with street tires. Its light weight made it more nimble than most muscle, and its price made it accessible. But what made it dangerous was how sneaky it was. No massive hood scoops, no bold claims, just a little A-body coupe that outran cars twice its size. A true street brawler, punching way above its class and never asking permission. 8. 1967 Rambler Rebel SST 390. Here's one most people don't even know existed, the Rebel SST 390. American Motors dropped this ticking time bomb into the family-friendly Rambler lineup, and suddenly, Mom's grocery getter was clocking low 14 seconds on the strip. The 390 V8 put out 315 horsepower with torque just under 430 pound-feet. That was serious grunt for a sedan. Add in a 4-barrel carb, dual exhaust, and AMC's best suspension, and you had a quiet assassin. It didn't look like a muscle car. That was the point. No flashy spoilers or wide tires. Just a clean mid-size car that, when provoked, left rubber down the street and smoke in its rear view. It's one of the earliest true sleepers, and the spiritual ancestor to every Hellcat-owning dad who just wants to go get milk. 7. 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4. The GTO Judge was already a legend, but in 1970, Pontiac turned it into something truly unhinged. The Ram Air 4 engine was a race-spec anomaly stuffed into a showroom muscle car, complete with forged internals, aluminum intake, and high-lift cam. Rated at 370 horsepower, but unofficially making well over 400, this thing howled to 6,500 RPM and launched like a dragster. Quarter-mile times in the high 13s were normal, and it could rev forever. Pontiac didn't build many. Only 627 GTOs got the Ram Air 4 in 1970, and fewer than half were Judges. It was a secret handshake between the factory and the fanatics, a nod to those who really knew what horsepower meant. This wasn't just fast. It was high-strung, temperamental, and thrilling. A beast barely tamed for the street. 6. 1972 Buick GS Stage 1 Riviera. When people talk about muscle cars, the Riviera almost never comes up. But for a short window in 1972, Buick made the GS Stage 1 version, and it turned this luxury land yacht into a torque-chucking monster. Buick's 455 cubic inch V8 was already legendary, but the Stage 1 added hotter cams, larger valves, and more aggressive timing. Result? Acclaimed 270 horsepower, thanks to new net ratings, but real-world numbers closer to 400 and 510 pound-feet of torque. The Riviera GS was 18 feet long and weighed over 2 tons, but mash the gas, and it moved like a cheetah in silk slippers. Quiet, smooth, terrifyingly quick. It was proof you didn't need stripes to be a muscle car, just a big heart and an even bigger engine. 5. 1969 AMC AMX Trans Am Edition. The AMC AMX was already unique, a 2-seat muscle coupe with a short wheelbase and aggressive styling. But in 1969, AMC built a special edition homologation model for SCCA Trans Am racing, and it was downright feral. It came with a 390 cubic inch V8, high-flow heads, and optional 4-speed. Horsepower was rated at 325, but like all AMC performance engines, it ran hot and hit hard. The car could hit 60 in about 6 seconds flat, and quarter-mile times in the low 14 seconds were common. But what made it dangerous was how unforgiving it was. The short chassis made it darty at high speeds. One wrong move, and the rear end was gone. It was a track weapon shoved into street trim, barely. Only a handful were made. And the ones that survived, now they're treasured by the few who can handle them. 4. 1975 Monteverde 375-4. This one's a curveball, and the ultimate international outlaw. Built in Switzerland but powered by American muscle, the Monteverde 375-4 was a luxury missile with a Chrysler 440 Magnum V8 making over 400 horsepower. It looked like a limousine, but moved like a drag car. 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, with quarter-mile speeds that rivaled Corvettes of the same era. Monteverde hand-built each car, using Swiss craftsmanship and Detroit brutality in perfect fusion. Only a few dozen were made, and fewer still survive. It was never meant for American streets, but if one ever pulled up beside you, you'd remember the moment forever. This was global muscle before anyone thought it could exist. Rare, beautiful, terrifying. 3. 1969 Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 2. Built for one thing, winning at NASCAR. The Cyclone Spoiler 2 was Mercury's answer to the Charger Daytona and Ford Talladega. A street-legal homologation special with a wind tunnel-tested nose and a 428 Cobra jet under the hood. Horsepower? North of 400. Top speed? 150+ miles per hour. Only 519 were built. Most people didn't even know they were being sold. Its long nose and flush grille gave it an alien look. But it worked. On the track, it stuck like glue. On the street, it looked like a prototype that escaped from the proving grounds. It was banned almost immediately. Too fast, too slippery, too good. 2. 1971 Dodge Charger RT 446-pack. Not the famous Hemi, but just as wild. The 446-pack used triple 2-barrel carbs to deliver 390 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. It was cheaper than the Hemi, but every bit as brutal. The Charger RT in 1971 had heavy-duty everything: suspension, cooling, brakes. It was built to take a beating and come back for more. 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, quarter in the low 14s, but it felt faster. Why? Because it sounded like the apocalypse and moved like a bar fight in fast forward. It was violent, loud, and barely legal. No wonder the cops loved to hate it. 1. 1969 Copo Camaro ZL1. Here it is again, because nothing outruns it. When Chevy let you direct order motors engineered for Can-Am racing, what else could you do but gun it? Aluminum 427 big block. Dyno-proven, closer to 500 horsepower. Low 11-second quarter miles, on street tires. Shocks like rail tracks. Frame stiffened. Only 69 were built. It's pure, raw, unapologetic speed. A street-legal outlaw engineered to tear up the strip. And it still sets records decades later. Legend doesn't do this car justice. It is the legend. These 10 weren't just fast. They were renegades. Not poster-board icons, but smoke in the alley, outlaw-built ear-ringing legends. Each one defied norms, rattled ceilings, and pushed what could happen when horsepower beat paperwork. If you came here expecting another Charger or GTO, I hope you left with jaws dropped at the Cougar GTE or Swiss-built Monteverde. That's the point. These are stories of forgotten bravado, the underdog muscle that stomped reputation and ripped a place in history. What surprised you most? Drop your sleeper legend in the comments. If you want more rare and furious finds, hit like and subscribe, because this channel lives in the shifting shadows of muscle legend. We're just getting started.